Welcome to Let's Talk Kenmore, a lighthearted podcast aimed at connecting our listeners to their local government and demystifying the role of government in the city of Kenmore. I'm your host, Amber Clifton. In this episode, I sit down with Sandra Lee from the Bothell Kenmore Chambers and Jason Parker, owner of Copperworks Distilling. Jason and Sandra have all of the details about this year's Kenmore Oktoberfest. Please enjoy this episode of Let's Talk Kenmore. Welcome to Let's Talk Kenmore. I am here today with Sandra Lee from the Bothell Kenmore Chambers and Jason Parker from Copperworks Distillery, and I am going to learn all things Oktoberfest from these two. Welcome to the show, Jason and Sandra. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So what can you tell me about the Kenmore Oktoberfest and sort of how it came to be?
Do you want to start with the history or do you want to start with what it is?
Let's start with the history.
Why don't we back up just a little bit and think about what used to be going on before Kenmore had an Oktoberfest. Kirkland had an Oktoberfest for a long time.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yep. And that Oktoberfest had a band in it, and in that band was a man who turns out to be Susan Greathouse's father. Susan, as you may know, as a Kenmore rock star. She's involved in a lot of different things.
Yeah, from the Heritage Society.
That's right,
Yep.
among other places. I don't actually think that she's currently involved in the Heritage Society because of so many other roles she's taken on.
Right.
But that was where she was last year. And her father used to play accordion in that band. And so Kirkland made a decision that they had so many festivals that featured alcohol that were getting in the way of business traffic that it actually made sense for them to reduce the number of events that they had. So they announced that they weren't going to be doing Oktoberfest anymore.
Oh.
Well, Susan knew this because of her dad's involvement in the band, and that came through the channels to Kenmore in just barely enough time for us to say, well, we would like to host an Oktoberfest, and let's see if we can pull that together. And through a bunch of really hard work of Suzanne leading that charge for the first year as project manager, we were able to get a contract signed with the band, find locations, and get the first year started. Sandy, you want to add some thoughts to that?
Well, I think you did a good job. And also just the whole community through the Kenmore Business Alliance and the city stepped up and wanted to be involved. People were very excited. So it allowed us to create a stakeholder committee and move it forward year to year.
That's so awesome. And did Susan's dad come and play accordion for the Kenmore?
Well, sadly, no.
Oh, okay.
He's gotten old enough now to where, believe it or not, his accordion that he used for the last few years was a self-playing accordion. So can you imagine a self-playing piano?
Oh,
Well,
wow.
it was sort of the same thing. So he could be on stage in Lederhosen, but he really couldn't play the accordion anymore. I think he's in his mid-80s.
Oh, wow.
But he did happen to have collected a bunch of materials, including many pairs of Lederhosen, a bunch of paintings that were backdrops on the screens, that they used for the fencing.
Yeah.
And so Suzanne gathered some of those things, put us in contact with some of the people who had built some of the infrastructure. And it really just was an easy way for Kenmore to pick up where Kirkland had left off.
Yeah.
And re-engage and make it our own. The goal was to make sure that it was a city-wide effort, but still business-focused.
Right.
And so that's what we've been doing ever since. And Sandra already mentioned the importance of forming a steering committee and having a bunch of business stakeholders involved, as well as the city and the chamber.
That's so cool. So was last year the first year?
Yeah.
Okay. So what were some of the, how did it go? What were some of the highlights?
Why don't you pick that up, Sandy?
We were kind of taken by surprise. We had events at different areas of the city and surprise in a good way. We had a wiener dog race at the lodge. And, when you do something the first time, you really don't know what's going to happen.
Sure.
And so the lodge and the rest of us thought, maybe 100 people might show up. And we got hundreds of people. We had people that wanted their dogs to identify as wiener dogs because
even though they weren't really wiener dogs.
Right? Because they wanted to be in the race. And so we allowed that, I think, to a certain weight limit. And so it was just a really fun family event that was well received. And we've already gotten probably over 20 dogs registered for the race this year already. So we can't wait. And one of the highlights was just having the collaboration between all the different entities as well. Mm-hmm. The different restaurants and the breweries all stepped up. And as an example, and Jason can probably speak better about it, we had a collaboration to make a beer that was just for Oktoberfest that was available at 5 different locations. So it allowed people throughout the community to go where they wanted and still participate and support by drinking that beer.
It was like a custom Oktoberfest beer.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's even better this year. So last year, I'm going to jump in, Sandy, and talk about the beer, and then let's get back to the highlights you were going through. That beer is a style. There's several styles of beer that they sell at the Munich Oktoberfest. And Vienna is a lager is one type. Oktoberfest is the name of a famous beer that they sell at Oktoberfest. Yeah. And Marzen. So last year we brewed a style of beer called a Marzen, and we named it Kenmore.
Oh, that's
and
clever.
that was clever. It was fun, and it was confusing because there were other beers on the menu that were indeed Oktoberfests.
Okay.
So this year we took the non-creative but very explicit naming, and we've named the beer Kenmore Oktoberfest.
Perfect.
So there'll be no confusion in what beer is the Kenmore Oktoberfest at Kenmore Oktoberfest.
That's awesome.
We doubled the production of it. It's been brewed at Postdoc Brewing, but 192 Brewing, Stoop Brewing, Postdoc, and then Copperworks. We're all present, and we're all working on designing the recipe.
Very cool.
Getting that finalized. So it's going to be tapped on the 13th, and that'll be the kickoff of the whole event. We tap it. Last year we had the mayor come and drive in the tap into the little keg called a firkin, and we immediately drank all that beer in about 30 minutes. That little keg was empty.
Yeah.
And so we'll be doing that again this year.
Oh, that sounds so fun. I can't wait to try that.
Yeah. And then the other thing that was fun too for us, especially for the Chamber of Commerce, we had for several years a family 5K that we have been doing in Kenmore. And we were able to change the date and combine it with Oktoberfest, and we'll be doing that again this year. And so it was allowing us to be a part of the fun of the citywide event, but also include families because, with Oktoberfest, there's a bit of beer being drunk. And so between the wiener races and the 5K, we were able to bring in all ages really easily and make it a fun family event.
That's awesome. I'm so curious about the wiener race. Do they actually run in a straight line towards a finish line, or did they just disperse and it was mayhem?
A bit of mayhem, but yes, they do have a goal.
Some dogs are more goal focused than others.
Yeah.
So it depends on the individual dog as whether or not they decide to run at all.
That's so
or
cute.
Just hang out there. It does help having the owner of the dog or the staff of the dog, if you would, at the other end, encouraging them to come forward.
Gotcha.
For a treat or a pet or anything.
Yeah.
That doesn't always happen.
That sounds like it could turn into like the best kind of chaos.
Well, it's cute if nothing else.
Yeah.
Well, and Jason, before we move on to another question, one of the things with the Kirkland closing and not continuing their Oktoberfest that allowed us to collaborate with somebody who built a lot of the scenic sets for their Oktoberfest. Can you talk about that, Jason?
Yeah. There's a fellow named Morgan who has, for 20 years, been designing elaborate sets. The sets he does for various different things, including theaters, but also, more importantly, his epic Halloween in his front yard, which can be like a pirate sailing ship that 14 kids can be on top of, and it has cannons and lights. So he does all these sorts of things. He'll build entire villages in his front yard. Well, he built what he calls a Glockenspiel. It's about a 24-foot tall German-themed clock, and it's just covered in all of those Bavarian designs,
Mm-hmm.
with all sorts of detail, including plants and lights and moving clocks. And every hour, the bears will drink a beer that are on top of this thing. So
Wow.
he has built it in a way that it's transportable. So he stores it over the winter and then brings it out to Oktoberfest. So he installed that last year and will be doing that again. And it's really a wonderful place to get your picture taken in front of because the thing's huge.
That's incredible. Where was it posted up last year?
Last year, it was in the corner of the Copperworks outside patio, and the top 15 feet were visible from 522 and the Burke-Gilman Trail. We
Right.
have a 6-foot fence that hides the bottom part of it. But we'll do that again. We'll put it in the beer garden, and so you'll be able to see that. He builds other set design things like a big wall of barrels of bears drinking beer on the top of it. So he's really got some neat design elements. And we'll be designing everything. We'll have archways, checkered tablecloths, and all that sort of stuff. Of course, we encourage people to wear their dirndls and their lederhosen. There's competitions for outfits, and it looks good when you're in the Stein holding competition to be dressed up.
Okay. I didn't know that. I need to go shopping now. That's
Right.
good to know. So this guy sounds very talented. Does he like bring this thing in on a huge trailer?
Exactly. He's actually had to custom build the inside of a trailer to hold all the pieces, and just so, and then they unpack almost like a Rubik's cube. Things just unfold when you move one thing, another thing becomes available. He slides that all out, pops it up. It takes about 4, but ideally 6 people to just lift everything and screw gun a few things together. Most of it is attached just by clamps that he's built in. So they
Wow.
just snap tight. And so it's remarkable. I can't wait
Wow.
for you to see it.
Me too. So many talented, cool people in this world. So aside from the custom brew, what are some things that maybe are going to be different this year about last year?
What do we got, Sandy?
Well, one of the things that we're excited about is Kenmore Air is going to have a family day on September 13th. So September 13th is the launch of Oktoberfest week. And we have our family 5K and now 10K run. So we expanded the run to have some more advanced runners participate. And so Kenmore Air, they are going to have a family day at the site, at their site, which includes a lot of children's activities. You can have a scenic flight for only $75. So that is a really fun opportunity for people. And they're going to have airplane flying competitions with the kids off the hangar upstairs and
balsa wood plane.
Yeah. And so that involvement and just that extra activity at a really, one of the best businesses in Kenmore, I should say, is going to be a lot of fun. And I think it's good for all ages. And so between those two, we really kick off a great week. And then the other thing that's new this year, we are doing a collaboration dinner at the lodge at St. Edward's, and that's called Feast and Brew. And Jason, do you want to elaborate on that one since you're involved?
Yeah, I do. And let me just mention, by the way, the Kenmore Air Family Fun Day is 11 to 4.
Perfect.
That's going to be the majority of that day.
Okay, good to know.
So on Thursday, September the 18th, that's when we're now moving in towards the weekend where the big festivities will be going. The day before, on that Thursday the 18th, this is something that's new that has actually never been done here. And I'm just really proud of all of us coming together and making this happen. So Sandy already mentioned that there are 5 places that will be able to participate in selling beer. Well, guess what? Those 5 places, which I'm going to name in a second, will also be involved in a 5-course dinner at the lodge at St. Edward's, with each one of us introducing our beverages along with the chef's creations for that one course. So all of us will be there, but there'll be 5 different producers of beverage alcohol.
So fun. How does somebody get a ticket to that?
Well, great point. So we should be telling you about how to find out all of this. Find Kenmore.org is the central place to find everything about this. You can buy your tickets, the link to your tickets there. You can find out all the schedule. You can ask questions or search for almost everything.
Okay.
But that's the best way to get tickets for that and everything else. So Postdoc will be there with their beers. Alluvium Wine Cellars will be there with their wine. 192 Brewing will be there. Stoop Brewing will be there. And Copperworks Distilling will be there. Each of us will have one course that we bring our curated product in with what the chef is preparing for that course and telling the story of how we made it and how it pairs with the food. That's going to be pretty fun.
That's so
at
cool.
6:30.
6:30. So you each work with a chef to pair a drink that.
That's right.
That's so fun.
Yeah. So this is going to be normally a food and beverage pairing is a single winery or a single brewery or a single distillery. So this is the first time they've ever had more than one. And in this case, they have 5. And all 5 of them are Kenmore locals. So
Wow.
very fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Well, and that, lends itself to the weekend. We're still having the beer garden. We're having the Bavarian band. But one of the lessons learned from last year was a little bit more space. So some of the improvements for the beer garden, which is the focal point over the weekend of the 19th, 20th, and 21st, will be an expanded beer garden. And the beer garden includes both 192 and Copperworks Distilling. Mm-hmm. So you can start out at Postdoc, just a couple buildings away, for some sing-along and some fun things. And then they're going to escort you over to the beer garden.
Have a little march.
Yes. We have not come up with a proper name for that. That is family friendly yet. So we're working on that.
Sure.
But they'll be, but we'll have the beer garden. And an improvement that we're doing that is not only is it bigger, because you never know. One of the reasons why Oktoberfest is in September is because the weather is sometimes unpredictable, especially in October. Often people move it to September just for that reason.
Oh.
And also we are going to charge for the beer garden. When you put on a citywide event, there is a fair amount of cost to it.
Oh, yeah.
And because it's not one person's ticketed event that they're producing, everybody has absorbed the costs and contributed. And so we're just trying to cover those tent rentals and the bands and all the things that go as part of the weekend, and a cover charge for the beer garden. But if you're under 21, it's free. So you can still bring your kids, but if you're over 21, it's a $10 charge or $10 or $12 charge to go to the beer garden. And if you want to come the whole weekend, we have a special deal, so you don't have to pay every day. And then parking. Not only do we use the park and ride and have opportunities like understand the parking on findkenmore.org, but we are going to have a bike valet this year because we just want to make it really easy so you can trust that your bike's protected and you don't worry about it. You can drop it off, get a ticket just like you would a jacket, and go in and enjoy. So we're hoping that just is an elevated concierge service that makes it easy for people to just drop by.
Yeah.
So
a bike valet. I love that. I've never heard of that. That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Well, one thing, the bike valet is not only going to be the first, and frankly, the first I've ever heard of these either, but we'll also have local bike clubs helping manage that. So, they're going to be there making sure that the bike is safe and that you have a ticket, but also you'll even be able to learn more about biking in the region by some of the people who will be there. We have 8 electric bike chargers. So as people move in, if they ride their electric bike there, they'll be able to charge their bike and hopefully get home.
Yeah.
So it's always the goal.
Yeah.
And folks will be able to, check in things like their hats and their bike jerseys, do a change in the locker room and come back out.
Yeah. Come out in their lederhosens.
Lederhosen, yeah.
Yeah. That's so cool. I love that so much.
In the beer garden, there are different areas where we have games. We have an MC that will help host some of the fun competitions that go with Oktoberfest. We'll have returning a band that is pretty well known in the region. And as much as they do a bit of polka in the tradition of Oktoberfest, they also do pop, rock, and classic R&B. So it will still be an enjoyable evening for all. And I think one of the things, we always, when we bring multiple businesses together, there's some things that the general public doesn't always know about, but there's different liquor licenses for different properties. And so we had a definite line between 192 and Copperworks last year. And so we expanded the beer garden so that it's easy to navigate, but we also will have beer, wine, and spirits available on both sides. And so that's an improvement because last year you could get spirits on one side, but everything else was on the other. And then you have like parties breaking up, so that now there's no choosing your friends. You can still be with them.
Yeah, I want a spirit, so I'll see you later. Sorry. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think this just allows for a more seamless experience. And then, for the sports-minded people, I want to just be transparent in that during that weekend, we have a couple important games. We have the Apple Cup. And we have on Saturday, and we have a Seahawks game. And so we're going to make sure that you can watch the game while enjoying the beer garden. So we will have watch party areas for the different football games going on.
Cool. So people can do both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can still drink and listen to oompa music. By the way, one other thing that we should mention, which we're really excited about, last year, Kenmore City hosted a pop-up shop. And that pop-up shop was in the hangar. And that was great, but kind of drew people away from the central activities. This year, that pop-up shop is actually going to be at the Kenmore Community Club. Their parking lot right next door to the main festivities. That's right. There'll also be some other activities there for children as well as adults. So that's happening on Saturday, the September the 20th, which is kind of one of the big days. That Friday and Saturday are the two big days. So that pop-up shop will be going from 12 to 5. And we have some pretty great vendors already signed up.
That's a really smart
move.
Should be a lot of fun. Everything is right there on Brew Row. Cool.
That's right.
Well, and I'd just like to mention that although we have very distinct events at different locations, like we've talked about over the last few minutes, but we also have something called a passport. And the Oktoberfest passport, we designed it last year and we'll have a version of it this year. The improvement, in my opinion, is that it's downloadable from your computer. Mm-hmm. Before, you had to go to City Hall or go to one of the events to grab it, but it's available, downloadable from your computer starting September 1st. And it will have a couple dozen or more businesses around Kenmore that you can go visit. And so it's an opportunity for some businesses that it doesn't make sense to necessarily be involved in at 192 or Copperworks or at the lodge, right? But it allows them to just connect with the consumer and to just be a part of the festivities in a different way. And what we did last year and are doing again is having you get stamps at the different locations, and then you will be able to, if you get all of them, you'll be able to enter a drawing to win some prizes. And so it's a way to connect community with business and to have different types of businesses still be involved in this week-long event.
That's so cool. Mm-hmm. Wow, I'm really looking forward to this. So you already answered my last question, which is why is Oktoberfest in September? And I had my last episode, I interviewed Morella from the Heritage Society, and I asked her, and she's like, I don't know. Ask Jason and Sandra.
Well, yeah, that was actually at the demand of guests of Crown Prince Ludwig and his wife when they were celebrating their 1810 marriage in October. It rained, and they wanted to have a festival every year to celebrate their marriage. And folks in the community said, October is the wrong time to have this. So they moved it to September. They still call it October.
Gotcha.
But it got moved to September because of better weather.
There you go.
And so even in Munich.
I was going to say, it's not just the Northwest.
I was like, I'm pretty sure this has some farther back origins, but I just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Other things I wanted to talk about, if you got
yes,
more,
please.
So there's some really interesting food options coming up, and let's talk about those briefly. Everybody will be offering food, so remember that there's also Alluvium sellers. They're going to be having the Biscuit Babe trucker hat pop up out there, so they'll have the Biscuit Babe food truck, and we'll be ironing on special patches or sewing on special patches, trucker hats. That's on Sunday from 2 to 6.
Okay.
That's at Alluvium, and they'll have, food there. Stoop Brewing always does a whole bunch of special food for this event. and they'll be doing stein holding competition and a thing called Hammerschlagen, which is just a crazy thing where you split a log with an axe. What could possibly go wrong there? Uh, but since last year, Copperworks Distilling finally got our farm to table restaurant open. That's called the Soil. And that restaurant will be featuring a special menu. So it won't be the full menu, the farm to table restaurant menu, but it will be some really great handmade ingredients. 192 Brewing will also be doing some special menu items. So there'll be a lot of food available.
Good.
I feel like the food is going to be one of the big reasons to get out of the house, try some of the specially made German foods, and then schnitzel and whatnot, and then be able to listen to the music and, of course, drink some great local beer.
That's awesome. I saw that recently. Congrats on your new food options. That's really exciting.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else about Oktoberfest that we want to make sure to get on here? Sandra?
Yeah, I would say that one last plug, because I don't know when someone might be tuning in to listen to this, but even up to the week of, there are opportunities for sponsorship. And as much as we prefer people to let us know now in the next couple of weeks if they want to sponsor, there are a lot of businesses that are just paying a little extra to have some visibility during that week-long activities, including places as like Right Properties, apartment buildings. We have Banner Bank, Evergreen Health for the Run, Imagine Housing. We have a lot of different companies that are stepping up to support Tri-State Roofing. So I would just like to say that if you have a business that you want to have in front of the consumers in Kenmore, just let us know and we'll find a spot for you.
Oh, that's really good to know. Yeah, That's awesome. I'm really looking forward to. I didn't go last year, admittedly. I'm really looking forward to it this year.
Good.
I'm going to podcast live there too.
Oh, very fun. Very fun. Well, we've ordered perfect weather again, so we can expect that.
I knew I could count on you guys. Jason, you were recently celebrated with the Making a Difference for Business Service Award.
Oh,
do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, sure. What an honor. I really had only been an open business for a year and a half. And I think that acknowledged both why I came here and why it's a great fit in the community and with Copperworks. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I was looking for, having lived in Seattle for almost 40 years, was a community. What Seattle was is a city, and what Kenmore is a community. And I found it very difficult to get involved in a way that I could make an impact there. But as soon as I started joining the chamber, I joined the chamber 2 years before I moved here, and a year and a half before I opened up the distillery, before I started the distillery. I learned that everybody here works so well together, and there's so many opportunities, and everybody wants to participate and join. So we just immediately built into our business that we're always going to be supporting local. So through donations, through events, anybody who is a nonprofit or even a non-entity, you don't even have to be a 501c3. If you're doing good work in the community, whether that's picking up garbage or helping, tutoring children or whatever the case is, and you wanted to use our location to raise money, we offer that for free every Monday. And we also give $1 back for every cocktail that's sold through that event goes back to that community. So as we started putting these types of things together, I guess that got recognized, and I was really honored and proud to be able to receive that award. It was the first annual version of that award. So, like I said, very, very honored and proud to be in this community. I now live 136 steps away from the front door of Copperworks.
You do?
That's right across.
That's so exciting. Yep. I live about that many steps from City Hall where I work. So I get it. I get it. Just stay in my happy bubble here.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, congrats to you. That's incredible.
Thank you.
You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for all the hard work you're putting into this festival. I am so excited. I can't even begin to tell you.
Well, it's the beginning of what we hope will be a many decades run of just growth and fun. If you've ever attended a city council meeting, you know that one of their first agenda items is where's the
Yep.
fun? And so they always ask, where's the fun in Kenmore? And this is one of the things that I love about this
Me
community.
too.
Is looking for the great fun.
Mm-hmm. Sandra and Jason are making the fun this September. That's where it is.
A lot of us are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate being invited.
Thank you so much for your time, both of you. This has been awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I will see you at the festival.
See you on the streets.
That's right.
Well, we'll make sure you get some mic time with our MCs.
Thank you. Yes, I'd love that.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye.
You take care.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Let's Talk Kenmore. Be sure to check back for more interesting topics and conversations. And as always, don't forget to ask yourself, where's the fun?